Every Saturday morning, Bruno gets up at 5 a.m. to make gingerbread people. He carefully measures the ingredients and puts them into a large mixing bowl with a big smile. As he bakes, he listens to his favourite music and sings along happily. Later, he and his dad take the warm, freshly baked gingerbread people to Spring Wood, a local home for older people. The gingerbread people taste so delicious that everyone in London knows about them. One Saturday morning, the doorbell rang. Bruno opened the door and a man walked in. The man took a deep breath. "Ah, gingerbread," he said. "It smells just like my old granny's kitchen, and I'm sure it tastes delicious too. Sorry, I'm Mr. Brett," he added. "I have cake shops all over London, and I'd like you to bake your special gingerbread for me. You could become very rich." "Really?" Bruno said, surprised. "But I just use a traditional recipe." "No secret, extra, special ingredient?" Mr. Brett asked. "No. Let me get Dad. You can ask him too," Bruno replied. When Bruno went upstairs, Mr. Brett saw a basket of gingerbread people on the hall table. He took one, a gingerbread girl, put it into his pocket and left very quickly. The gingerbread girl was afraid. When Mr. Brett stopped moving, she looked around. She was in a huge bakery. "I have a new biscuit. Crush it up and find out what the secret ingredient is," she heard Mr. Brett say. Oh no! The gingerbread girl didn't like that idea, and Bruno and the people at Spring Wood needed her. She had to do something fast. At that moment, Mrs. Brett came in. "I'm going to the market to get some ingredients now." When the gingerbread girl heard that, she quickly jumped into Mrs. Brett's handbag. Mrs. Brett left the bakery and caught a bus. The gingerbread girl looked out of the window at all the famous sights of London, and she saw crowds of people. Then something amazing happened. She saw Bruno and his dad in the street. The next time the bus stopped, she jumped off and a big black taxi almost crushed her. Finally, she caught up with Bruno and jumped into his coat pocket. As soon as Bruno and his dad arrived at Spring Wood, they gave out the gingerbread people. When Bruno came to the last lady, there weren't any left. He couldn't understand it. He always made 50. Checking the basket again, he saw a gingerbread girl lying in the bottom. "Oh, here she is," he said. He didn't know anything about the gingerbread girl's great adventure. As he gave the old lady her gingerbread, she smiled and said, "These biscuits make me so happy. You must put a lot of love into them." Bruno smiled and said, "Yes, that's my secret, extra special ingredient, love."